Hey everyone, last Epoch's 1.0 release is here, and I've been grinding it out to see what it's all about, and see if I'll have a new ARPG to endlessly grind. In this video, I'll be going over my experience just playing last Epoch's campaign on 1.0 launch. I'll be going over these 13 topics, how I felt about them relating to other ARPGs and other games. So I went into this game completely blind, no builds, no guides, no loot filters, not seeing any footage except Frosty LaRue's video here, which let me know that last Epoch's 1.0 release was even happening. But first I'm going to do something a little different, and I'm just going to give you my rating of last Epoch's launch and the campaign from a hardcore solo self-found perspective. So I rate last Epoch's quality of the launch about a 6 out of 10. It was good, but it had a bit of issues. The rating for the campaign itself is a 7 out of 10. I thought this might fall to like a 6 out of 10 with like replayability issue or something, but having played it on 4 different classes now, I could say that it's a solid 7.23 out of 10. From my perspective on this, I rate PoE's campaign about a 8 out of 10. This rating is not for the overall of the game, just for the campaign, as I really haven't experienced the end game yet, and we'll still be making a video on that. Where do I think Last Epoch fits into the ARPG hierarchy for me? I still believe that Path of Exile is king, alone at the top. But Last Epoch takes a firm second place, so above Diablo 4 and other ARPGs, Wolcen, Grim Dawn, Torchlight, yada yada yada. I feel like Last Epoch is everything Diablo 4 wanted to be and tried to be, just like different themed world. Before we continue, if you can give this video a like and comment what your experience with Last Epoch is down below. Why I'm an idiot and wrong about this. Before we begin, keep in mind that this is my experience going through blind and may not be entirely accurate just based on what I've figured out so far. Now, it with launch day, Last Epoch 1.0. I was a few hours late to it. I didn't start until I got home that night, so it was pretty late to, I don't know what it was like the second you logged in. Um, there was no lag in the game that I noticed, except trying to go through doors. Man, I'm not sure how the game works, but I guess it's all client side until you go to a new zone. This game apparently had like 200,000 players or something, like topping PoE's top on Steam. They were at like a steady 250. Dropped down now to about like 190. Oh no, we're back up to like 220. Doing pretty good. Player base seems there. Seems good. Seems people are liking it. So there was like the error codes that were coming up. What was it, like LE61 or something, and like infinitely loading doors. Some people were saying like they were stuck in queue at 0 and still not getting in. I had one rollback happen after a crash. It was, I had like completed a zone, or I'd gotten to a new town and it rolled me back to the end. So that was interesting. But for how many people that they had, I don't think they were expecting this big of a launch. I'd say it was pretty good though. Other than that issue, it was pretty good. I mean, there was like a 10-person queue. I think it was probably just like static queue just to make sure that everyone was in line when they were coming in the door. Yeah, pretty good. Just that alone, I think, was like a 6 out of 10. It's like, wasn't flawless. There were crashes, queues, the yada yada, error codes and the such, but pretty good. Now, for the actual like campaign itself, not just the launch, I played a shaman through it. I was looking through the classes and I wasn't really sure what I was going to play. I didn't even know what the classes were. So the first thing I did was I just went through and I read all the classes, all the or like the ascendancies, I would call them. They were, I didn't want to play anything like I play in PoE. I didn't want to play a minion build or anything. So I was like, okay, a druid. Nothing like that in PoE till PoE 2. But so I picked that, and I wasn't really sure of which ascendancy I was going to choose. I didn't want to choose Beastmaster, so I was probably going to go Druid, but Shaman caught my eye while we were doing it. And I was like, I don't want to play Shaman. It's like a spellcaster, and there's like Earthquake, like spell, so it's like that's gonna be cool. And there's like a totem thing. Yeah, I didn't know it was a minion build. Like totems or minions and stuff. I turned Earthquake from a melee skill into a spell. That was pretty cool. I really liked that. Talk more about that when we get on skills. But the class itself felt very strong. The totem was like clearing like three or screens away. It felt like the AOE on it is insane. And then you have like Herald of Thunder going as well. Very cool. Very strong. Now having played other classes since then, this was it's a little crazy how strong this class is. There's the only real thing with the class in particular, maybe it's not just the class, maybe it's like the minion types. I did not like having to like revive stuff. Didn't like that. It's a really weird thing that we don't have in PoE at all. Like if your golem or your like minions die, you don't stand over the top of them to get them back up or whatever. That was really weird. I didn't care for that very much. They would die in like bad places, like on degen ground or like outside of like trying to remember like a boss fight that had like fire around the outside of it, so I like couldn't get to it. Or during I don't know any other names. Brand King fight, they got trapped outside of the area that you could fight him in, like where he is up there, so I couldn't revive them and they were down below, and that was a bad feeling. I didn't like that. Everything else about the class is pretty strong, pretty crazy. Now, the skills of the actual class. Pretty insane. The totem, very crazy. Very interesting that it was like you get like a core skill with your shaman, while all the ascendancies have like a core skill like werebear form and summon raptors, your other one. I thought that was pretty crazy. I really like the skill system and the changing skills and the combos with each other that you can like get like your lightning damage, earthquake that's giving you lightning charges because your storm stacks you get from gathering storm apply to like your earthquake, and you get your totem gives it to you. And I really liked how they all like merge together to do that. It reminded me of Baldur's Gate 3 that I'm playing right now, that like you can get like lightning on like all your different lightning stacks or whatever they're called, lightning charges on all your gear, and like different types of things that all like blend together. I like that. One thing with the skills that I wasn't a fan of was the scaling tags and the minion tags. That was really confusing at first. I didn't really get the difference between them. I thought maybe only minions get these particular tags on them, and other tags are for me, the spell part of the minions, like the birds have like a lightning attack. But I thought maybe I didn't really understand. It was a little confusing. I understand now what it all is. Like there, it just is a tag that's just for minions. They won't scale up anything but those. But yeah, with these skills, the mana cost of them, I really liked in this game that I have to like pay attention to my mana bar now, because you're pretty vulnerable and you can't do anything. You can't, if any of your skills cost mana, like leap slam or whatever, and you're out of mana and you're negative, oh man, you're in trouble. So that was a nice change of pace from PoE's mana. I don't know if I like it better. It was a nice change of pace. I didn't like that minions take a slot on your hotbar if you have them summoned. So like it'd be in like PoE if your golem had to be on your main hotbar. It couldn't just be a backup summon to like resummon it. But because you don't resummon them in this game, they have to be on your hotbar at all times. I didn't like that. Let's see. The respec on skills, that was, I mean, it's nice. It's fine. If they want to have like a just infinite respec with like 5-10 minutes of re-leveling them back up to like one level before you did it, it's fine. It's whatever. Change them out. Doesn't bother me either way they do it. But I think that's it on like the skills. I'm not going to talk about like each one and like which ones I liked and which ones I didn't. Just I'll leave it at like they were pretty good. Now, passive skill points. These I think could use some work. Some of them are like just really boring, like +5 attunement, +10 health. There's multiple ones that were just like, why is this here? plus 20 totem health or totem armor. I don't think my totem like would die like one time the whole campaign, having no armor or health spec'd into its survivability, anything. Yeah. I guess I did have the birds healing it, so but I've played 4 other classes now, like I've said since, so I think that like Void Knight has like a pretty good skill or like passive skills. I like his way more than I like the shamans. He has a few like clunky ones too, like just plus like 5 HP or whatever. But for the most part, his is way better than the shamans. There are a few shaman ones that I really liked, like Eternal Storm. That skill seemed crazy passive points. That was really it. I was really disappointed in my first playthrough on passives, but I'm pretty okay with them now that I've played other classes. The other classes are better. I think shaman just needs some love. Let's see what else. Oh, passives that you need to link. Like you need prerequisite ones. I like the feeling of progressing towards them, but I hated when there was a passive that just had nothing to do with me and I needed it, and I needed like a bunch of previous ones to get to one I did want. Example, this is like Dervish is like elemental melee damage. I literally don't do melee damage at all. And the when I converted Earthquake to a spell, it no longer scales with melee damage. So it would just be like dead stats of like all the way up until like AoE, which was like, oh, AoE, that's gonna be like really good. But I'd have to take a bunch of dead stats to get there. I didn't like that. Um, but other than that, I think the other classes I played are much better. And I don't know, I wasn't happy with Shaman, but that's why you play a bunch of different classes to figure out what you like. All right, let's move on to. Oh no, wait, one last thing. I wonder what these trees. I have a level 70. I have a level 60 and a level 70 character right now, and I really want to know what do these trees look like when you get like a level 100? Because I've already gotten all the way to the end of the bar, like leveling it all the way up, and then I've even gotten more points than since. So I went back and like got all the ones I wanted, and I have like 30 levels. That what am I gonna do with those other points? I don't know. I have no idea. I guess just I'll spec into the opposite thing that I was before instead of damage tank or whatever. All right. Now, let's move on to the stats in the game, like resistances and ability points and all that jazz. This screen here. So resistances, I'll start out with. They seemed like really pointless at first. Like I was getting them, they didn't really feel like they were doing anything. For like the first like 7 acts, it felt like there was no real danger for anything. Because I think a lot of that was I'm shaman, so you get like 50 resistance just base. So I didn't really notice taking any damage until you get to like Act 7. Then it's like stuff starts hitting real hard. I feel like it's because I flied through like Act 5 and 6, and the level scaling goes up really quickly in those. You go from like level 30 areas to like level 50 areas by the end of it. Yeah. Same with like enemy resistances, enemy life. Once you hit there, it really jumps in difficulty, which I liked a lot more. I wish that the earlier ones were that difficult and not just the later acts. Basic stats like vitality, strength, and stuff, they work completely different from PoE. Just none of them even remotely close. So PoE, they're like stat checks, and like you need it for gear, and like that's how you put on your skill points, and like you have to like work around and like combine things to have certain skill points or skill gems equipped and everything. But in this game, they're just like buffs, like health and resistances, armor. Dex is for like dodge, I guess, ward, and mana. But then they all do like another improving skills that require it thing that I don't really understand yet. Let me know in the comments down below how that actually works. I have no idea. I guess if you have more in it, those skills do more damage or something. I don't know. And then there's like block effectiveness, which is like how much you reduce the hit by, so you can like change your glancing blows damage, which is pretty cool. It'd be interesting if there were nodes like that in PoE instead of just the one node that like statics you at 65%. Let's see. Armor. Armor is another weird one. Like block chance for armor blocks spell damage. It's not as effective at blocking it, but it still does, and that's really odd. When I that took that took for like 2 or 3 characters to really like keep remembering that when I get armor, I'm also reducing spell damage, not just like hits, physical damage hits. Can't remember. It's not for damage over time though. It's just hits. But yeah, ward is like energy shield, except instead of charging back up, it charges down. So that's interesting. That I think there's going to be like some really strong things I can do on the mage with that. Maybe even on the lich. I'm not sure. I don't know. I'll figure it out. Stun is like I'm having a problem with my Void Knight right now where I don't know. It honestly feels like lag, but I think it's stun. If I get into too big of a pack, I just get like stun chained. What other things? Movement speed in this game is slow, and I haven't quite figured out how to get really fast characters. I'm sure there's a way to, like, there's some legendary boots or something that I could put on to make me a lot faster leveling and stuff, but I just haven't figured that out yet, and it's a learning curve to get faster and better in the campaign. It's coming from like a PoE perspective where the first thing you do is you're leveling up a new character is you're looking for movement speed boots, and if you've already played through, you're putting on like 50% movement speed off the bat, and then with Affliction League now you're putting on like another 30% or another 50%, whatever that note is. So you're going like 100% like right off the bat, and you can't spam like travel skills or anything. It's a good change, I think, or a good change of pace. I kind of liked it at first, but talk about it a little more later. But the backtracking and stuff in the some of the acts and like going to do side missions in the areas, it made it feel kind of bad. I don't know. Maybe some of the other classes. I think Void Knight is faster than Shaman. I think so is Lich. But Mage and Shaman were both pretty slow. Yeah. Ailments and poisons and ignites and all that stuff. Those things on your gear are all different. It took a while for me to learn that 100% chance to poison just means you have a 100% chance to put one poison stack on, and 110% chance to poison means you could put one stack on and 10% chance to put another stack on. You don't just cap out at 100. I'm guessing there's some builds that have like 1,000 chance to poison, so you're just like putting 10 stacks on every time or something crazy like that. I think that's really strong. Poison especially, because it reduces your resistances the more stacks you get on something, and reduced on yourself too, which is why poison resistance is so crucial when you get to those desert maps, desert areas. Thank God, right when the first like belt that dropped was a experimental mage right at the entrance when you get off the ship, and it's he dropped me ailment removing belt, and I haven't seen one since on any other character, and I've done dozens of mages. That was pretty crazy thing to get there. Pretty lucky. All right, what's next? Blind works no. I learned blind works in a weird way. So it's not like they just miss you. If they throw a skill, instead of throwing it at you, they'll throw it in a random direction or like near you. I guess like a cone around you in one of those directions. So I guess if you dash and it like goes to like miss you, it could actually throw it in your pathway. It's a little scary. I don't know if it does it for like bosses and stuff. Like if you're fighting like a pinnacle boss and it throws like a fireball or something and you blind it, will it throw it into you if you dodge? That's a little weird. I don't know how I feel about that because I haven't played any build with blind yet. But if you have, let me know. I'm curious what it feels like playing a character that blinds. The health bar. There's not a lot of regen in this game. There's like very little, even when I'm like trying to get it. It seems like leech is where it's at, or like damage avoidance, or just rely on your pots. There's like a weird bloodborne type health thing that happens when you get hit. I have no idea still how it works. Like if you have 1,000 HP and you get hit for 500, like your bar slowly drops down. I don't know if it's just visual or if there's like a skill that like if you press it it'll put it back, or your pots eat up that health. I don't know how that works. Damage types of like skills coming at you and stuff, like lightning, cold, fire, are pretty easy to tell what's happening. All those skills are like really easy. Like that's clearly a fire, that's clearly a lightning. Physical's a little hard, but I guess it's the same with any game. It's just like an arrow coming at you or a sword swing, but that's easy to tell. Poison is like okay, there's like green on the ground, and like these are like I'm in a desert, so these are snakes. They're probably gonna poison me, and like I can't really tell, but like I can mostly tell. The area usually gives it away. Necrotic and Void, I don't know when I'm taking that damage. I just have no idea. I just did a dungeon that's fire and necrotic. I couldn't tell you. There's like 3 or 4 instances where you could tell if you're taking the necrotic. I assume it's 50-50, but I have no idea. Is it just if it's a purple enemy, or just if it's a ghost? Do no other things but those two? I don't know. That one was a little rough for me. But all the others are pretty simple, pretty straightforward. It's a little weird because in PoE, you just reduce damage taken from everything, all sources, so you don't die. I don't care what type of damage is being dealt to me. The only time it matters is a pinnacle boss fight where I'm putting on like a ruby flask or something to mitigate just that type of damage. In this game, it's like very damage specific zones. The only like hybrid area that I've seen was the fire and snow area, I think. I think that's it. All the other oh, and the Brine King area is cold and lightning. Those 2 areas are hybrids. I didn't see any other hybrids in any other areas. Yeah. Though that was pretty cool. A little hard to tell though. Maybe I don't know how PoE 2 is gonna do it. If it's gonna feel like that, and you're like, oh, this is the type of damage they're doing and stuff. They did a good job there. Now let's move on to items in this game. The items, like your loadout and stuff, is similar to all other RPGs. You know, you got your boots, your gloves, your shield. The only thing different is you get a relic here, and your relic is kind of like your belt. Like the way I thought of it is your relic is your belt, and your belt is just like your flask crafts on it, like +1 potions and like gain ward on potion use. And this one I have on right now is 100% chance to cleanse all ailments on potion use, which is amazing. Yeah, that's the way I thought of it. There's like idols, which are like not cluster jewels, just regular jewels on your passive tree in PoE. That's pretty much what they are. It would be interesting if they ever move these idols away and do put them on your passive tree. Like you spec into them, and then just instead of giving us idols, well, I guess you just give us passive points there, or unlock the slots on the tree. I don't know. They're not really items, but like potions. They really didn't seem like there was a point to them. Maybe it's because of how tanky or like how safe the shaman is earlier. I didn't use them at all until like later, like Act 8 and 9. But potions and all. I don't think any game has done potions right yet. I didn't expect Last Epoch to solve it. I don't know. I don't know what the solution is or what it is, but maybe PoE 2 will do it with reactive flasks. I think those are going to suck too. I don't know. Not a fan of flasks. So when I was playing Shaman, I think it's in the game menu, which I'll talk about later, but it's like, it said something like, I looked it up in there, and it said like totems or minions, and like specific items will have like totem related stuff on them, even though they're just minions. I never saw a single totem mod until I got to monoliths, where like one of the items was like 60% totem speed, which okay, I don't know. That kind of felt bad playing the whole campaign and playing a totem build with no totem mods, but then you get like minion mods, which leads into the next thing of gear for totems is like axes or minion weapons in this and stuff. So it's like scepters, or which makes sense, or axes, which I don't understand. But then by the time you get to the end of the campaign, it's staves, I guess, because staves have +1 minions or something on them. That was a little confusing. I don't know. Maybe once I actually play like a minion class, maybe minion classes are like melee hybrids. So I had like a axe up until I was able to convert Earthquake to a spell, and then I was just rocking a scepter the whole way through, um, which felt pretty good. I liked getting away from melee and just being all spell damage or all totem. It felt pretty good. Last Epoch has a decent amount of like customization on your character with the gearing and stuff. I think it's more than D4 or anything, but I don't think it's anywhere near like PoE customization of items and stuff. Maybe that'll just come with time. I was thinking about it today. I have no idea. Is this going to be like league seasons? Are we getting one every like couple months, or is it going to be just DLC expansions for this game? I have literally no idea. I'll talk about that in the next video. Oh man, I want to talk about it so bad now. But I'm not done. I'm only halfway, not even halfway. I'm like 3 deep into monoliths. I've like there's like 10 or something. I've done all the other arenas and dungeons and getting sidetracked. Stay on the campaign. Let's see. I have a big old notepad here, right? Been taking notes about the whole way through. Let's see. Oh, storage for your items. Um, okay, I just noticed something about your storage right now. It doesn't transfer over between characters. That's weird. Um, stashed. Oh no. This character's dead. That's why. That's right. I was like, why did the stash really not carry it over? Confused myself. Yeah, because I need to log in the other character. So my stash, I really like that they did the free route and like you just buy your stash tab with gold and everything. I think that's the perfect way to do it for this game. But I think PoE's affinity tabs are infinitely better. And I'll take them any day of the week over this. Just being able to like spam click all your inventory in feels really nice. They even give you these wait, my oh, I logged in the same character again. Anyways, they give you all these little like pictures and color codes of them and name them and stuff. And I think that's really cool. That you can like have everything organized like that, and it's free, and it just infinitely expands, I guess. I like that I have all my tabs. I have my unique tab, and I got my keys, and I got my exalted items that I'm gonna maybe break down or maybe try and wear on another piece of gear. Because some of them are like, some of them you hit them, and I'm just like, this like 90% increased damage while channeling. I can actually use that on the mage pretty well. Other stuff. But yeah, that's it. All about the stash and stuff. I wonder how much it costs to like. I think I'm at 50k per stash tab right now. How high does it go? Are we paying like millions later? I have no idea. But the next thing with the items is crafting. First things first with crafting is you can craft anywhere at any time, which is really weird to get used to. And like, I one of my character's deaths when I was playing the mage was because I opened my crafting menu and I thought I'd cleared the screen and I died. I think it was my skill menu actually, but I think I was like crafting and had skills up, changing things around. Anyways, I died. What was me? So that's fine. It's whatever. Um, but the crafting itself is very, very luck based. Just crafting with shards and stuff. It's like you either it either eats all your forge potential or it doesn't eat any, and you like crit. It doesn't seem to be like progressively get better. It's like you find a good base with like one or two stats that you like really want, and hopefully the other ones are either empty or other stats that you want, because wasting forge potential removing them would suck. So you like want to like find like RNG a good one, and like hopefully you get one, and then you need to use your hopes on it. Hopes are really good. They like make it cost nothing sometimes, which is really good. I don't know how I feel about how RNG it feels during the campaign and stuff. I don't know if there's other systems later on that change how it works and like makes it more deterministic. There's no like crafting bench or anything or blocking mods or anything like that. There's in PoE. PoE feels more like you get a piece of gear and you build it up to like good enough, and then once you have it good enough, you go find another base and you like try to like build that one up better to get your next piece. And the only RNG really comes when you start building like very good types of gear, and you're like trying to like really spam fossils or something to get like +2 on it, and you're RNGing it then. During the campaign, you're not doing any of that. So campaign is like very, here's my gear, here's a vendor recipe, I'm putting one craft on it, that's solid. Maybe I do find a piece of gear with a stat on it, then it's like, oh, cool. Then I'll maybe just craft something on it. But last Epochs felt a lot different with that. I don't know how much my gear was even doing. I've still got a lot to learn about how the stuff works. I'm not really sure how, like, what damage numbers mean, like +5 minion damage, or like, I don't, +5 lightning damage or void damage. I don't know what that means. I don't have perspective on that when I'm dealing like tens of thousands of damage, what that means, or like what the, I don't know, the weight of these meant. Keep in mind that I'm going in completely blind for all this stuff, so I'm not looking up guides or like what any of this means. I'm just using my favorite tool, the in-game guide. Very good. Very much like it. The glyphs are pretty cool. Chaos is like, I guess you use it if you get that one, if you have like 3 stats that you really like, and there's one stat that's just like does nothing for you. You just gotta like hope to get rid of it. It's a good way to like annul it off and like re-roll it, but it burns your forge potential, and hopefully you never have to do it. The other one is the Glyph of Order. I think this is the stupidest glyph. It just keeps your tier roll. Like if you roll 1 to 10, you get a 10. The next, when you upgrade it and you roll 11 to 20, it'll roll 20. But I feel like you would never want to use that over hope, because unless it is the very last craft on all of the gear and you have like 1 forge potential left and it's your very last upgrade, and that upgrade is maxed out on its tier, then I guess you use the Glyph of Order, but you would never use it other than that circumstance. Then your very last forge potential and your very last PC upgrade. Even then, hopefully you're at like tier 4, so it would go to tier 5. Because if you're at tier 3, I would always just use hope and hope to get 2 more upgrades, which would just be better than having a tier higher upgrade. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what the other 2 are. I think one of them actually I did get, and it's like gives you a 5th or 6th affix on your gear, which seems very strong, very crazy strong. Maybe that was a glyph. I don't know. Or maybe it was a rune. Not 100% sure. But that seems pretty cool. As for runes, though, I think one of the coolest things this game has is Rune of Shattering. Rune of Removal's kind of the same deal, but I really like that because it makes me look at almost every piece of gear that I see on the ground, and I'm just like, that has health on it. I want to destroy that so I can get health shards and stuff. I really, really like that. I really hope PoE takes this idea. We had like recombinators, which are kind of like that, but not really, because you still have to do crafting on both items. And I think this is a really cool thing. Instead of taking our items and like dumping them for, oh, I got 3 alks this map because I sold them all, I could like dump my gear into like a grinder, just grind it all up and get charges on my crafting bench or something. I don't know, something that I think that's really good idea. I think I fell more in love with this idea the more and more I've played with it. And it's just like every exalted gear, it's like, oh man, this is like a T6 mod. I can like Rune of Shattering. No, it's Rune of Shattering. Yeah, I can Rune of Removal it and get like all 6 of them and stuff. That's like sick. And I had like a plus level 1 on like a random piece of gear, and I was like, man, that gear is awful, but that one stat is good. I want to take all those off and level it because my amulet has that stat. I need a bunch of them. It's the only one. I really like it. Very, very good mechanic. The other ones are like, you know, turns it into a unique and slam exalts and divine orb. They're just, yeah, run of the mill stuff. Those ones are super interesting. Another thing with crafting is vendors and the gambler. Man, the gambler is a piece of shit, isn't he? He just doesn't give you anything ever. I've never gotten something from him like, thank you. I needed this. I needed this piece of gear. Thank you for costing all of my gold that I had during the campaign and to give me nothing. Don't do the gambler. God, is he addictive to just like, oh, I'll get it. I'll just hit one. You won't. You won't hit one. You won't. He's so expensive early. He's so expensive. And it seems like once you get to the end of the campaign and start doing monoliths, he like just has, there's no point to him. Some stuff you pick off the ground will just be better. Do one map and you'll have the piece of gear that you want. At very least, just the base, and you'll have it better. It's, I don't know. I think he's bait. I think that's it with the items, or with crafting on items and stuff. There might be more stuff that I've just learned about that's like turning merging uniques with items, and I haven't explored that at all yet. I just found out you do it today when I was looking up like Widow's Will or something. The game yet? I'm not even sure what it's called. Weaver's Will? Yeah, Weaver's Will. Yeah. So maybe there's more to the crafting system that I just don't know about. And I'll probably explore what I'm doing in game. But keep in mind, we're just talking about the campaign right now. Just the campaign. And during the campaign, there was a story. So playing through it, I obviously know absolutely nothing coming into this of what the story was going to be about. So I was just like, oh, cool. I'm just like some random, like, homeless druid guy going through. For some reason, I didn't really understand why we're being summoned to some talk or whatever. I don't know if I missed something. But then there's like, you go and you summon some like guy, and or you save some guy, and like he's like all powerful already, so he's just like taking stuff out, and then a chicken takes him away, and you go beat the chicken up, and then you're like, okay, I understand where this story's going. I'm saving the mages, we're doing good. And then what the fuck happens? We're time traveling, multi-dimensional timeline wizards that are uh, fighting gods that this story gets so crazy so quickly that I was just like, okay, I'm just going through the motions as I'm playing this. Basically, to just like skip through it, I won't talk about everything that happens in the campaign, obviously. I would be here a little bit. But the ending seemed a little anticlimactic. You do the fight, and you're just like, okay, on to the next act, because I still have another goal to do, another piece to the puzzle, another piece of the rune that I need for the staff and stuff. And then it just ends, and then you're in endgame. My guess right now, as I'm playing through some of the endgame, is that the campaign and the endgame are all one story, which is really weird. I don't think I like that. It just felt really weird. Instead of having like a separate endgame story of like bigger, it's like, I don't know. Comparing it to like PoE, you are going through and you're like fighting like Katava, and you're like, I don't know if you're trying to get unexiled, but you like going and you like fight Katava, and then you lose to him, and you like battle your way up through all the smaller gods, and then you fight him at the end, and you defeat him, and like the world's saved, and then a new big bad enemy sees what you did and is, you know, the whole story with Shaper and everything comes into play then. This game, it seems like once you've killed 3 of the gods, the 4th one and is somewhere in endgame or something maybe, and then I fight the snake priestess, and then maybe we'll get to the king. I felt like it ended so abruptly, but yeah, it started off real fast. Like you're just going, you're just like boom, you're time traveling, boom, you're going through this area, and it got real slow at like Act 6, 7, 8, 9. It was just like, oh, these areas are so long. I don't know what any of these side quests are. They're all just like, go and see if this person's alive. Oh, they're dead. I'm not really sure if dungeons were supposed to be part of while you're playing the campaign, because there's like it happened, I think, in both of my runs through. I don't think I got there on the other characters yet. But like there's like a chest that gives you your first key for Lightless Arbor. I don't know if you're supposed to go do that, or dungeons are just an alternate thing you get later, because once you're in endgame, you get a bunch of these keys, a ton of them. I the boss I just defeated right before I started recording this dropped like 10 keys. Yeah, I'm not really sure if they're supposed to be part of the campaign or not. I thought they were going to be like your lab stuff, but no, yeah, I don't know. The campaign, the maps, like the different time zones and stuff feel very empty. Maybe it's just because like all that area is destroyed now, but then you'll like see like castles and stuff in it. I wonder if that's what they're gonna do for like DLC or expansions and just put stuff there. Yeah, I don't know. It felt like the whole game was based in the Divine Era, and then they needed to have time travel, so they made the Ruined Era, which was kind of just the underground. Yeah, it could have just been like the Underdark, and then you come out at the Imperial City, which is the only place that's really it's the only place you visit twice, right? I think is Outcast's City and Imperial Wellrun. I think that city is the only one you go to twice. I've seen the arena thing. I know what it is now, but I seen it on the map, but I never experienced it. It's just like another mechanic and stuff. Looking for it right now. Oh yeah, I couldn't even remember where it was. Got all like the training dummies and stuff there, and yeah, didn't really. I don't really think it's part of the meant to be part of the campaign. Maybe they don't intend it to be. Maybe they do. I don't know. I guess no, they probably don't. Because how would you get the keys? They probably just. It's probably not side quests for during the campaign. They were all like pretty good, and like it felt good to do them, and like you're getting like idle slots, and that feels like impactful. And then you get like a skill point. You're like, okay, these feel good. And then they stop giving skill points and idle slots, and they just give you like 1k gold, if that, and like 1% of a level. They'll give you like 4,000 experience when you need like 100,000 experience to get to a level. It's, I don't know. They need to give something for this quest to make them feel good. Except the one quest in the very last area in like Act 9, that quest is crazy. Never skip that quest ever. You get like 20k from the guy. You get more gold from that quest than you all other quests I think combined. And I think maybe you can negotiate him, give him, or he'll give you 80k maybe, or like 30k. You can do like negotiations with him. I gotta try it on another playthrough to like have him give me like 80k. Sounds crazy. Don't skip that quest. All the other ones you could skip. Oh, except the Rat City quest. Make sure you do the Rat City quest and call it Rat City. Um, very good quest. The campaign itself was pretty easy. Act 1 through 6, nothing damaged me. Nothing really started hitting hard until Act 7, 8, 9, 10. When you start fighting like the pinnacles. I don't know what you call them. The real bosses. We'll talk about bosses a little more later. Oh, I have a little tidbit on dungeons here. The rewards for Lightless Arbor are weird. I think I had like 30k when I went in. And I dumped all my gold into the end of the rewards because you like put your gold in to get chests. I got nothing. And then I learned that you could just spam decline and the money will just keep increasing. So I had it up to like 4 million per upgrade. I wonder if you get really stacked on gold and you go in there. If that's the only reason you run Lightless Arbor is if you have just like millions of gold and you could like really juice the upgrade or something. I don't know. The other dungeon though that I did, I think it's Soulfire. That dungeon, very cool. It's got like an alternate. It's got what's the name of the boss? Starfire? No. What's the name? I only do it ever once a league. I always forget. Starfire, Black Star, something, whatever. I don't know. The before Searing Exarch, that boss. It's like that where alternating elements and you like change your shield, deal the opposite damage type so you don't take damage from it. That's really cool. Except I think you use fire way, way more than you do necrotic in that dungeon. Even in the final boss fight, it felt like it was more fire based than necrotic. Really cool though. I like that one a lot more than Lightless Arbor. I still haven't ran any of the others. I don't think I've gotten a key for any of the others yet. Who knows what they're going to be about. Oh, I like the NPCs of the dungeons too. I think about all the NPCs in the game, the dungeon people were like the most interesting. Talking to like the Spriggan and like the Skelly dude that's like trying to sabotage his like guys and like doesn't want to get caught. The one snake dude, I've talked to him, but I haven't done that dungeon. He is interesting. Talking about like knowing we're time travelers and stuff and other adventurers. I like them. I didn't really care for any of the other NPCs in the campaign. There's like the fucking horny dude that we get his Viagra. He like tricks us. He's like, my dying children and everything. And then at the end, he's like, oh yeah, I just wanted to there's this new chick and she like does this thing with her tongue. And I really needed some like Viagra. I don't know what the fuck the devs were smoking when they came up with that quest. I thought it was okay. I was worried about replayability playing it through. But having played it through a few more times now, I wonder how fast I can get it. Actually, playing it through. Faster the better. Because endgame is probably where it's going to be at. So that's enough of the campaign and the story and stuff. The layouts and the maps, we're going to move to those next. First thing with when you're in areas and stuff, having infinite portal key just right there, very cool. I like it. Get rid of portal and PoE. Portal scrolls, get rid of them. Get rid of them. Do this system. Make it a channel even if you want. I don't care. I didn't really think about, I didn't mention earlier, but no wisdom scrolls or anything too makes it really interesting. I know the reason why PoE doesn't want to do it, because you'll filter out all the items on the ground and stuff. They don't have your exact mod or whatever. We wouldn't do that if we had this. I guess we would just change it to this, how this game does it, where you only pick up those items and items that have it and you shatter those. I don't know. I think it's nice. Anyways, back to layouts and stuff. Backtracking, I think almost lost this campaign a full point. Just that alone. There's some times where you would just go to an area and you would go down a long path to do a little side thing or kill a side boss or touch a totem or talk to somebody, and then you have to walk all the way back up the area you've already cleared. There's just all the way to get back to where you were. Or if you missed it and you got to the end and you're like, shit, I didn't do the side quest, go all the way back. And you have to go all the way back. This is kind of on you if you do this, but still. You go all the way back, dead end, then you have to walk it all the way back again. I really hate backtracking in games. It's the number one thing I think devs are taught, or at least I was taught in school, was never ever have dead ends, ever. They're bad, always. Never dead ends. Make circles, which I guess is another thing. I don't know how this works. Sometimes when you're in certain maps, there's endless respawning on mobs. When you're backtracking and you clear an area and you go back through it, it respawns the mobs. I've had it happen where I was just I killed everything and I was just standing still and all of a sudden more stuff started appearing next to me and I was just like, what the heck? I think that could be a solution to it. I think I would be more okay with the backtracking if stuff had respawned, so it gives me something to clear, or as I'm clearing it gives me CDR and life so I can spam clear through it faster. But if you're just plain walking and you're not getting any mana regen or anything back, it's a little rough. I really don't like it. I mentioned about DLC areas and stuff. It looks like that they're gonna do the actual map. Oh, just a thing of note. It's not a plus or a minus for the game. It's just waypoints were often at the end of a zone and not instead of at the beginning. There were some instances where they were at the beginning, and then I think there were a few instances where I had this happen where you'd start an area, you'd have a waypoint, you'd go through it, you'd get to the next area, it would have a waypoint, but it wouldn't be there at the beginning, it would be at the end. So you'd go through 2 areas to get to a waypoint, link waypoints, 2 full instead of 1 and 1, which I don't know. It's odd, but it's fine, I guess. I just thought it was worth mentioning that it's a thing I noticed when I was playing. And we're getting through this. It's gonna be long. If you're still here listening to all this, you're a real one for sure. This is all just random notes now that I've had, etc. stuff that I had about it, and things that didn't really fit in any other categories or stuff. But so here goes the first one. Gigantic plus. It gets a full point. The whole game, the rating went up just because of this. PoE needs to steal this system, the game guide. It needs work. It needs stuff added to it. There's a few things you look up and it's not there. But for the most part, anytime I needed it, oh, what does this do? Oh, I'll just press G and look at the game guide and I'll type in that word. Oh, okay, now I understand how that works. I seen a stat and I was like, what is parrying? Oh, parrying is a defensive mechanic that grants a chance to negate all damage from hits. Oh shit, it's like block. Man, I really hope that PoE does this, puts this in their game, just takes this. We don't need a full wiki, we just need keywords on key mechanics on how they work. They're so good for Last Epoch to do this. And you can like link the articles in chat if like someone in chat is asking like what this thing does, and you can like tell them exactly where it is, and it's good. It's good. It's good. Yeah, it does need some work. I think like I really wanted to know like how like health worked. And the only things is like a terminology for high health and low health. But I was like trying to figure out what like the health bar thing was. It needs like a few more things, but yeah, I thought that was a really amazing system. I really, really liked it. Man, we're gonna be jumping all over the place with these factions. Factions are weird. I don't really understand why you would ever not choose Circle of Fortune, because it seems like that's just dropping massive loot. Well, I'm hardcore solo self found, so obviously the other one is like for trading. I should spec into it just to see what it was. Because I'm so curious. Can you trade while in hardcore solo self found with it or something? Or is there like a vendor that will let you trade with them in there? Circle of Fortune seems super good for hardcore solo self found though. I don't know if that's supposed to be like that. Like they're like, oh, okay, it'll be a buffed loot for people that want to play like that. Disguised it as factions or something. This is a totally random thing that once I got the faction, I seen they got reps, so I was like went around killing one mob at a time to see how much rep they all gave. And right after you spec into it, I don't know if this changes or if it's based on area, but I'm gonna tell you what I found. White mobs give 0.25% rep, magic mobs give 0.5% rep, rares give 9 rep, unique and side bosses were only giving 2 rep. The end of a map's boss was giving, I say map, but like in campaign map, you get what I'm saying. They were like 11 or like 19 sometimes based on like what type I think they were. So if you like really, really want map, I think you like sprint through as many mobs you can, killing rares and getting to the map boss. And then I guess if you're done, you can hunt down all the rares or just go to the next map and just start hunting towards the map boss and killing rares along the way. That seemed how I did it. I don't know. Let's see next. I never need a loot filter the whole way through. It like really queues you up to like get one and like really wants you to download one. But I didn't think it needed it. I really didn't. There's not a ton of loot on the ground, and it's like easy to understand what it is, like magic rare items and like idols, and you could tell if like how many affixes it has just by it being on the ground with the little dots on either side. I have one now on my other characters because it'll tell you like specific roles on it that you want to pick up and chatter. It's the only thing that I've actually added now because I was super curious what a loot filter in this game actually looks like, and it seems very, very handholdy. Hey, get in the comments right now, what site do you download loot filters from? Because I don't think I'm doing the right site. I think I'm doing like Last Epoch Archives or something, or Last Epoch Tools. Is there any other place to get them from? Because those are not really descriptive. Is there a filter blade? Can I do that? Let's see. Moving on. You can stalk people on your friend list. Like you can just add a streamer and they'll be on your friends list, and the streamer won't be able to tell that you're stalking them and seeing everything they're doing. This is a weird system. It's not a plus or a minus. It's just question marks I have next to it in my notes here of why is it so people you don't reject people. I don't know. It's a really weird thing that I just thought was worth mentioning in this because I seen it and I was just confused on why that was a thing. Ooh, something I have with a bunch of negatives next to it. Smart pathing in this game. Holy shit. It's bad. It's real bad. It needs to go away. If you ever accidentally touch a wall with your mouse, instead of, and that wall leads to the other side, like a U, instead of continuing to go towards the wall and like dodge an attack or something, you'll go straight into that attack. You'll go the opposite way so you can go around the wall or whatever. And if you get it like perfectly in between like a wall and a walkway on the other side, your character will rubber band back and forth, not knowing whether to walk away or walk towards it, and they'll just rubber band back and forth. I hate it. It lost a full point because of this. It did. The game guide gave it a point. This took it away. I hate smart pathing. I hate it, hate it, hate it. I want to go where my mouse is. That's it. I want to go that direction every time. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know why it's ever in any game. Let's see. The UI, there's like some stacking issues of like I'll get whispered and stuff, but whispers and stuff don't show up over any of the menus. Sometimes your items and your hovers like stick and get stuck over other things. They'll stay with blocking other. It's like when you're crafting. I notice it a lot when you're like hovering over crafting material and you're like trying to like look at other materials, but you can't because the hover UI is like over the top of the other nodes, like on top of your item. It needs help. It needs help. Speaking of UIs and stuff, icons and like your skills and everything, they don't match sometimes. Like you'll be hovering over something and it won't be the thing that you're actually hovering over. I had it happen with like an amulet, and I was just like, I hovered over it and I like read its stat and then I continued, and like 5 seconds later I was like, wait, what did I just read? Wait, that's not an amulet. And I hovered back over it again and I'm like, wait, where the hell did that stat go? I think it was like mana on hit or something. I was like, wait, why the fuck, what is that? And I like did it again and I like couldn't find what it was. It was a random item in my inventory that somehow showed up for the item that I had equipped. Yeah, I don't know. Very weird thing that was happening with the icons. Even more about the icons. I don't know if this is intended or they'll just add it later on, but like you'll have icons in your skills that they'll look like, oh, I was playing totems. I'm looking at all the totem like pictures and stuff, but they won't have anything to do with totems. It'll just be a picture of a totem or a picture of fire or something, but that won't have anything to do with fire or a totem. That was really, maybe they just haven't finished all of them, so they just put filler art in those areas. Uh, this one I have a bunch of pluses to. I copy pasted it. It's all in capitals. It's some sort of magic wizardry they did in this game. They must be wizards. I don't know. How did they get the energy shield above the health bar? How the fuck did they do it? PoE's been 10 years. They just can't do it. Working countless hours, hundreds of days, and sleepless nights trying to figure out how these wizards concocted the fucking energy shield above the health bar. Um, I needed to put this in the game because it blows my fucking mind away. But it's still a thing in PoE, and this game just already has it. Yes, this game's been in development for like 7 years or whatever. And it takes all the criticism for the other games probably as it's making this game. Now, that's all the random stuff. One thing I wanted to really talk on kind of here at the end, bosses. Bosses in this game. I just put a bunch of pluses next to it. I think the bosses in this game are really, really good. Start with something that's a little maybe negative or like neutral. I don't really care, but all the early bosses, most of like the later bosses have this mechanic too. It's a lot less noticeable and some of them don't have it at all, but red circles under every single mechanic, it's fine. It's not the end of the world they have it. I understand why. It makes it the fight a little more interesting, but it feels like shit if you're not in the circle and you still get hit by it because your tippy toes clipping the circle. But yeah, that was the only thing that was just like a negative, or maybe it's just equals and fine. It's 50-50. It's could go either way for me. Now the rest are all pluses. All the early bosses, I don't know any other names. We're just descriptions here. The fire chicken, right off the bat, that's an amazing first fight. That's a really good first boss fight. It's got like phases and it's got like big areas and it chunks you and it hurts. It's good. There's like the elder keeper guy. That's a really cool fight. Cultists that are totally not cultists. That's a pretty good fight. And there's like I don't know what you call them, Unity or whatever. You fight those guys too. Those are good fights. The fire lizard in like the time travel zone, he's like does the massive AoEs and stuff. Those are all really good early fights. Those all got like a plus for me. What got a lot of pluses were like the 7 8 9 fights. Those fights were amazing. Those are like almost pinnacle tier level fights in PoE. The Brine King fight, I don't know his name. Brine King, very cool fight. Very, very cool fight. Trying to like learn his attack moves and his slams, and like when his eye is gonna do the beam and like teleports, and it's very good. It's such a good fight. Was the XCOM snake? Yeah, like I said, don't know the names. The XCOM snake. You know what I'm talking about. They wear the skin of the other people, those snakes. think that's how they all work. They like they have their skin. I don't know what they are. They're XCOM snakes. The end boss fight, very good, very cool fight. I really like it. It's got like a soft enrage counter. I think all bosses have this. I don't. I maybe I'm crazy, and it's just adrenaline when you're doing some of these fights. I think by once you like 50%, like all the bosses, their like attack speed increases. It for sure increases in like this monolith fight that I just did, where he like has less zones by the end that you're safe in, and like the speed of the circles like ramp. Like I'm full running the whole time. I like it. Really good. The dungeon Titan boss fight, even though I didn't like the rewards for the dungeons, the Titan boss fight was really cool as like a really early fight. Like, I don't know, they're just really good. The thing that sucked about these is I played Shaman, and I did if I didn't play any other classes and I just did this review now, I would probably say like, the bosses all kind of sucked. They just kind of stood there for like 3 seconds and then they all died. And they didn't really do anything until I got to like Brine King, and that was like an okay fight. Where I just ran around in circles while my totem killed the stuff. But after playing like Void Knight and like Lich and stuff, Mage even, not just one tapping the boss while my totem does all the work, and you're actually engaging and like fighting and like dodging, these are really good fights. Fuck Shaman for almost taking that experience away from me. But yeah, I think that's just the bosses. I'm excited for because it keeps expanding. I'm doing monoliths right now, and like they're new bosses every time at the end. I don't think these bosses are as good as pinnacle fights in PoE, but I think they're better than the map bosses in PoE, with like few exceptions, like Katava. I think Marvel's a good fight. Innocence, obviously, amazing fight. Maybe there's a few others. The Brine King is like an okay fight. I think Aracali like sucks. Some of those are 10-year-old bosses. These are brand new and shiny. I really liked learning the fights. Having gone in hardcore solo Southbound blind and all that right off the bat, I was very scared because the thing you die to in PoE is not knowing what the boss is going to do. You got to learn the boss fights, and having no idea what the boss fights are for this game. I don't know. I really like that feeling. I really, really like learning fights as I'm doing them and stuff. It's like Elden Ring all over again. Like learning fights, except in Elden Ring you die because if you get hit once, you're dead. And we could end on that good note of the bosses. But I think it's things worth mentioning, and we should talk about bugs that I noticed during the playthrough, because it's what affected the rating and stuff. This game's been in development for like 6-7 years. They probably maybe on and off or something. They're not free of criticism in this area. If you have them, I've been doing it as much as I'm not perfect with it, but try and report these bugs, then they'll get fixed. And then when someone else comes to play the game, they won't have to deal with them. Report bugs. Use their bug report feature. Press escape and report a bug. It probably helps them out a ton. I really wish more people in more games did that. I hope when PoE 2 comes out, people don't just play it for the content during the alpha beta. I hope that they go in and they're like, let's break this fucking game so that I can do a bug report and like have them fix this thing. I don't know. So I'm gonna list them all out here before we wrap this up that I've seen. It's not all of them. It's just some that I could remember when I was making this document. But I'll just like shotgun through them. I put like the UI needs to be fixed, wrong items, getting stuck, blocking other things to see. A lot of like wrong text and stuff for stuff. And like symbols would show up in text, and like text font sizes were like randomly changing in shops. Let's see, a lot of textures didn't show up, or they like wouldn't be there. You'd walk up a staircase and there would be no staircase there, or like there would be no like icons on the maps. It would just be like white squares. Some voice lines, it happened a few times where they would start talking, not like some of the NPCs where they do like a random voice line. They would actually start reading their thing and then they would just stop and they wouldn't talk anymore for the rest of the conversation. I don't know what was happening with that. They were like, I don't know if it's a feature or whatever, but there's like doors that like that, I don't know, maybe it's not a bug, it's just in here because I didn't know what else. Doors that like suck you through them even though you're not near them and stuff. I don't know if that's intended or what, but or if like the door locations were in wrong areas, like they placed them wrong. I already said like the shops were broken. The UI for reviving minions, it doesn't seem to move. I think that circle that happens on them is supposed to like go down or fill up the circle, or I don't know. I don't think that works. They're like giant ragdolling enemies. You'd kill them and they'd stretch the whole screen. I've had that happen. Moonwalking characters and enemies, they would like be just facing the other opposite ways and moonwalking towards you in different directions. I had one quest, you know, the snake crystal ones in the desert map where you're like Indiana Jones in it. That quest broke a bunch of times. I was like, I tried to do it like 3 times and it just kept breaking, and I like logged off for the day. Came back and I had tried doing a bunch of things. This was like the first time I looked up anything, so I was like, I have to be missing something. And there was like a Reddit post on it, and somebody else had been experiencing it, and they're like, go through and clear it all in order, in this order, instead of I think I did like the green, the blue, and then the red, but you have to do like green, red, blue, and that'll fix it. And that didn't fix it. So I just did it. I logged off, came back the next day, and it worked the second time I did it. So I did it one time that day, it didn't work. I was like, fuck it, I'm just gonna try it again. And it worked the 5th time I did this quest. I don't know. That was really, really annoying. And it seems like they had a thing for it, because when you report a bug, there's like a specific section where like unable to progress. So if you ever have things like that, please report them, because that really ruined my experience one day. And hopefully it's fixed so it doesn't ruin anyone else's. Again, report bugs when you see them so that you can help people. Report these people in chat that I'm looking at right now. They're selling gold. Fuck these people. These RMTers. Let's see, do I have anything else? Oh yeah, the mage prisons like stayed open and on and stuff. That was weird. And then waypoints like didn't exist. It would be like telling you to go, and there like be a blinking, you know, the blinking like little circle things of like this is. It happens where like bosses are and stuff, where they're just like there would be nothing there, or it'd be like in outside the map blinking. And I thought it was like, you know, like a side area that would like TP you there, and there's no side areas, no areas. This was broken sometimes. Anyways, that's enough about bugs. That's all I could remember. There probably more happened, but I figured doing a review of it, I need to include all these downsides. It feels like the last thing I had on my list was MTX. The big thing is like they did drops. I think that got a ton of the community playing it, watching it. So that was pretty cool. The MTX shop itself, it's pretty bare bones, but this game doesn't, I don't think is going to run off MTX. I don't actually, I still don't know if this is going to be like live service or if it's going to be expansions. I don't know. The only gripe I had with it was the supporter packs. I do not get why they're a tiered system, why you're paying $19 to $50. They're all the exact same, just different colors. They're slightly cooler back attachment, maybe, but like the bird is the same. I don't know. They should all be like $19.99, and then you just pick which color you want. I don't know. That was the only small thing I had. And yeah, I think that's everything I went through in the campaign. Let me know if there's something I missed that you're like, oh, what did you think about this thing? My whole playthrough, I made a bunch of episodes for it. In other videos, if you want to click on my channel and go see the full playthrough first time. I don't know if I'm going to be posting videos on all my other characters. Maybe like once I start like exploring maps. I don't really know how I'm going to do it. I just started making videos like about a month ago on PoE. So after having played it, I was like, man, I've been playing this game for so long. I should probably, I want to like share my experience with it. Like PoE 2 is coming out, and like, I don't know, give it a shot. So, we'll be playing more Lost Epoch for a while, exploring the end game. I hope I don't die, because it would set me back real far on making another video on the end game. So if you could, like, comment, subscribe, please and thank you. If you stuck around at this point, you are a real one. Catch you all later.